Of the financial earnings that came in after market close today, Power Finance Corporation has turned in a better than expected performance in the first quarter, both on the top line and the bottom line. Net interest income has seen a growth of about 6.8%. Profit has increased by a little over 8.5%. Gross NPAs largely stable at the end of Q1 at around 7,562 crore rupees. Moving on to PSU Banks, and this is a real story this evening. It's another asset quality shocker from IOB. Indian Overseas Bank has seen its GNPAs, gross NPAs, surge to, believe it or not, a whopping 20.48% of the total book. In absolute numbers as well, total bad loans have seen an increase of around 13%, and we're talking about a level of 33,900 plus at the end of the first quarter. Provisions are slightly lower if you're comparing it sequentially, but fairly elevated because we're still talking about a figure of over 2,000 crore rupees. And because of that, there is a big net loss, a net loss of 1,450 crores in Q1 versus a 14 crore rupee profit in the same period last year. That net loss has also expanded sequentially. If I remember correctly, it was around 900 crores at the end of Q4. Today, we're talking over 1,400 crore rupees. The string of Midcap PSU Bank disappointments continues with United Bank, which has registered a 13% drop in net interest income and a 26% fall in net profit. Gross NPAs up by about 100 basis points over Q4. They are now at 14.29%. The silver lining, however, is that provisions have fallen 67% sequentially, and they stand at just over 378 crore rupees. Well, we're not entirely done counting bad bank earnings just yet. UCO Bank has seen its gross NPA spike to over 17% versus roughly 15.5% in Q4. Slippages are fairly elevated at over 3,000 crore rupees. The bank, however, has also seen some smart recoveries. Recoveries stand at 1,427 crore rupees. The net loss has narrowed sequentially from over 1,700 crore rupees in Q4 to just about 440 crores at the end of Q1. Net interest income has seen a dip of 28%. Here's the management explaining the asset quality picture.
For the current quarter, ending September, the slippage is estimated to be between 1,500 to 2,000 crores. So these are basically accounts which are on the watch list. So we are trying to contain this figure within this level, and hopefully we should be able to do that. And plus we are trying to have some resolution in the already NPA accounts, and we are just focusing more on the recovery aspect. So that should help us improving our figures.
Prakash, three banks. I mean, after the Indian Bank absolute, phenomenal surprise, if you were hoping for a repeat from the others, I don't think that's really happening. How severe do you expect the reaction, let's say, to be on IOB, or is most of it already in the price?
No, well, see, IOB's been a struggler for the last couple of quarters. We saw downgrades happen on its paper, and then that was the first indication that, the financial health is definitely questionable. And some of these smaller banks tend to be more vulnerable to a down cycle in the economy. So till, they get recapitalized and the asset reconstruction activity picks up, they're not going to be able to offload a lot of this baggage. And remember, so 5 years back, when we used to talk about gross NPAs touching double digit, was like a howler. Today we are so comfortable talking about 20%.
Yeah.
So the environment has changed because we are in the midst of a cleanup phase for these banks. So I would believe that's one of the reasons why the reaction might not be as severe. But having said that, these are banks that don't offer any great repair opportunity at this point in time. So people would tend to wait for September end to see whether there's any veritable change there to make it worthy of investing. So my sense is, the numbers could probably push the stocks down tomorrow, maybe 5%, 7% on an average, but there won't be many takers even after that for a while.
Okay, on that note,